Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Let Me Tell You Something podcast, the New Year's Eve special. This is actually going to be part 2. We're still your hosts, Christian.
And Jordan.
Yeah, last time I noticed when I was editing this, you might be wondering, why are you guys doing a part 2? You never do a part 2. You're right, we don't. When I was editing this last night, I realized I had specifically said at one point, I have all of these, I have a list to go through of events for us to talk about, and we never got to that list. So then the next day I was also watching videos of other people's recaps of the year and stuff, and I was heartbroken. I was we did not do we didn't do a review of the year. We got to do that, So we're here now to do just that. I have the list. I made a list, checked it twice. Although we were out of Christmas, we are finding out who's naughty or nice.
That's right.
Where did it go? Here it is. So, I wanted to point out, I don't know if you had any other personal things in your throughout the year or whatever, but I also didn't mention this at all. I briefly talked about it on my channel and stuff too, but a big thing that I went through last year, and our buddy Patrick came in clutch, was I fucked up my knee. I went to this, I was at this party, this kind of concert. It was more, I guess it's more like a EDM, DJ kind of event. More of a indoor rave almost. And I got in the mosh pit, and I twisted my knee.
You did,
and I was down for the count.
Yeah, you were.
It was not good. But Patrick really came in clutch. He was a G, helping me get back home that night, making sure I was taken care of and everything. And then you came in clutch, hanging out with me throughout the week. I remember
basically being your servant.
Well, no, actually, but there were also plenty of times where I would get up and still serve both of us, and I was limping over.
Okay, I mean, hey,
it was hilarious because I remember you were like, "Oh, you're like Igor," with the yes, master.
I mean, hey, listen, you need to strengthen that leg. So you getting up and walking around, even though it was messed up, in hindsight, it's good for you. No, but builds rebuilds the muscle in your legs.
What it needed and what it finally got was rest and relaxation. That's what it needed, time to just not do anything and to heal naturally. But I won't talk about that. Did you have any other crazy things like that happened to you that really stand out where you're this is a big moment that good or bad? Anything like that for you?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Well, we spent last episode really talking about ourselves and everything, so we're going to be a little less conceited. No, we're going to talk about just the year itself. Neither of us really have any a lot to say about all of these topics, so we're just going to kind of more or less glance through gloss over this. And if we come up with things, we'll talk about them. If not, then it is what it is. So
yeah. For context,
yes.
Christian is the one who delves into all the, all that economic stuff, political stuff, media, all that stuff. I don't do that. That doesn't really interest me enough to delve into it. So,
and I will say, we're not going to delve too much into political stuff specifically. I say that when the first thing that happened was Donald Trump getting sworn in, but that's because he's the fucking president, and so there will be stuff like that come up here, right. But this isn't my channel where that's the focus, the social and political stuff is the focus. But I did want to talk about this, and I want to talk about things we'll talk about K-pop Demon Hunters, and we'll talk about the Superman movie, things that we saw and loved. So, but one of the big things is that just I can start off with this. It was the first thing that happened almost a year ago from now, January 7th. So LA has been having these problems with I'm sure many people know, but for anyone that doesn't, LA has been having these issues with wildfires for a long time. And they just had basically another pretty crazy, disaster where what I'm seeing from this here is what we had is an estimated cost of 76 to $131 billion in property damage was caused, and 30 people were killed, at least. So it wasn't good. Wildfires, they're not good. They actually have, I don't know if you've ever seen, they have these like helicopters that carry like a giant bucket of water.
Right.
And they just like drop that on the fire.
Yeah.
There's this great joke by one of my favorite comedians, Randy Feltface, where he talks about how this scuba diver was, swimming, and he was picked up in the water for that, and was thrown into one of those fires, and the joke is they're like, well, at least he died doing what he loved, and he's like, well, he was a fireman and enjoyed scuba diving and all that, but I don't think he ever wanted to mix it all.
That's right. Yeah.
But no, but that's it's rough.
I would never want to live in LA because of all of the fires and all that stuff. It's like,
I get it.
If I did live in LA and like one of the first fires happened, I would be like, okay, I'm living somewhere else. Yeah.
No, I get that.
We'll probably live closer to the city.
Well, LA is the city.
Well, like a lot of the fires happen on the outskirts.
Oh, you mean I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, that's I always wanted to move closer, in the city too, but because I wanted to, this, but I don't know how much of our audience does. I wanted to move to LA for the longest time. Largely because I was pursuing a career as an actor and musician and felt like I kind of had to, but I just really wanted to go there and get the fuck out of Florida. But here we are.
Yes, sir.
And, so it's funny because on one hand, I think that's a big example of how, the environment is getting worse. We have, there's all this, propaganda and these corporations that push toward this narrative of essentially, climate change is a hoax, global warming, whatever you want to call it, isn't a real issue, and yet we're seeing these insane wildfires and stuff happening. And here, it has been getting hotter, pretty consistently each year. But what's crazy is here, we did not have a hurricane.
Yeah.
We had no hurricanes, which I'm grateful for. I don't like hurricanes, right? But yeah, we didn't. It was crazy. We didn't have.
I would rather have a hurricane than a tornado, though.
Have you been in a tornado? Not in, but
No, I'm not personally, but I've seen some videos, real time videos of people either reacting to tornadoes or videos in the house when the tornado comes by. Yeah, I would much rather a hurricane happen than a tornado.
I kind of think most people that talk about this stuff are just biased toward what they experience. Because I hear from a lot of people earthquakes aren't really that bad, but I'm terrified of hurricanes.
I would never want an earthquake.
That's the thing. I hear from people here all the time where they're I'd much rather hurricanes than earthquakes. Because what I always hear about hurricanes, and I understand it, is with a hurricane, you can prepare for it. You know it's coming, and yet you still have people who are waiting until the last minute to buy out all the water.
And the gas. Don't forget the gas.
And the gas.
Oh, you people suck. I heavily dislike those people. That freaking when it's 2-3 days before the hurricane actually hits. They're in their trucks at 7-Elevens with literally 15 gas cans.
That's
filling up every single can.
So
why?
So I always try to make sure that I have a full tank.
Same.
Because for one thing, right after that hurricane, everyone's lined up.
Yeah.
And you'll go to a place where, sorry, we don't have any gas, we don't have any, and that's just the way it is. I imagine that's one of the benefits that people like our buddy Logan have for, driving a Tesla and not. However, if anything happened to the electricity, you're fucked with that too. So
yeah.
Nothing's perfect, right?
Yeah, I remember this, not last hurricane, but 3 hurricanes ago. I spent a whole day, literally the whole day, going from gas station to gas station. All the tanks were empty. I was like, this is absurd. And finally, I think I drove a couple of hours away from my place, and I found this little dinky gas station, and like there were like three gas things left.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh hell yeah! But then I got threatened by someone with a knife, so I had to leave with half a gas
at the gas station.
Yeah, I was. Yes, that was the first time that ever happened to me. Guy got. Thankfully, didn't escalate any farther than it probably could have. But essentially, guy came up to me and he brought out a little switchblade and he's like, "Hey man, back." It was literally like it was like one of those like one of those post-apocalyptic worlds, where like, "Hey man, get away from my thing." And it's like, "Oh, okay, calm down." Yeah, man, he freaking pulled a little switchblade on me. I was like, all right. I mean, all right, this is yours. Don't let me bother you. So I drove away with a little less than half a tank of gas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't people just lovely? When it comes to natural disaster, or not natural, but when it comes to like stuff like hurricanes and whatever.
These situations really are ones where, I think it just like brings out people's true colors. Are you somebody who's going to like band together with other people and try to help them out, or are you going to just try to like fend for yourself and like fuck everyone else?
Yeah.
And I think that different people will behave differently in that situation. I try to be someone who will like help each other out and stuff like that. Like if I was like splitting, like there was only like so much gas left, I'd be like, all right, let's split this up. Like divide it evenly among everybody. But it's crazy how people react for sure. In later in January 20th specifically, that was when we had President Donald John Trump. Did you know his middle name is John?
Donnie J. Trump.
Donald J. Trump was sworn in for his second term. And he's
he's the president.
He's the president.
Oh.
He absolutely. I talked about this in the last episode. Things have not gotten yet as bad as I thought they would have with him being president. They're not good. Like he's definitely not making anything. It's not. There's not anything he's done that's been good. There was one thing I saw that looked like it was going to be good, but nothing seemed to come of it. Where I think he said something about getting like something about like reining in Ticketmaster, so they weren't going to be able to gouge people so much. But that didn't happen, so I can't even give him credit for that. But pretty much like as soon as he was elected, it was a really, because I remember like, and I know you didn't really like didn't really like understand or even care that much of like what was going on, but like I remember we watched the inauguration together, and
your boy over here was catching some Z's. Oh my gosh!
It was crazy though, because like he had like Bezos, Musk. Musk was like a given at this, but he had like all these powerful people behind him who it was like these guys know, like they're just following the money, following like what's popular, like they're just gonna try and get in with like the new regime basically, right? But and there was a lot of like kind of controversy and stuff. That the biggest one was of course when Elon Musk when he was talking and he did a little old timey Roman salute when he said how his heart goes out to people, and he was he tried to play it off, and other people on the right tried to play it off like, oh no, he's just showing how his heart goes out. Yeah, okay, maybe, but I don't know about that. It was I think it was pretty clearly a Nazi salute. Now, I will say I don't think it was like a brazen like, oh, we can get away with this now. I think it was probably more of like almost like a Freudian slip, where like he was just doing it, so he just but we'll have more to talk about. him and that whole situation in a moment. In a little bit of positive news here, this is kind of cute. I didn't know this. Thailand had become the first Southeast Asian country, my apologies, to legalize same-sex marriage. So that's sweet.
Good for them.
In February, we had. That's right. So Beyonce had done that. Was that February? Do you remember the country album Beyonce did?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she put out a country record, and she made history as the first Black woman to win a Grammys for Best Country Album.
Yeah. Yeah. None of the country artists were happy about it at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of very not nice things to say about it, about her, and the whole her winning the Grammy or whatever for making a country album. So
was it kind of like that stay in your own lane kind of thing? Like you're a pop star, don't be trying to make country music?
Some of it.
Yeah, because so my thing is, I don't love when artists so MGK was like primarily a rapper and has been for a long time. But when he started making rock music in 2020, technically like late 2019, I really like his rock music. I don't care that much for his rap music. I like some of it, but I don't really care. And like, if I was a country fan, I don't think I would be like, oh, Beyonce, you should have stuck. I'd be like, oh shit, more of this, please. You know what I mean? That's because I know a lot of people. What you're talking about, a lot of country people being that way about Beyonce making country music, that's how a lot of people are about MGK making rock music. Where they're, oh, you shouldn't be making rock, you're not a real rocker, like whatever, all that shit. And I think the gatekeeping thing with all that is just stupid. I think if an artist wants to and I think it would actually really make sense for like Sabrina Carpenter, because she's so like inspired by Dolly Parton. If she wanted to make like country music or something, fucking let her. Taylor Swift started making country music, and now she makes pop music. You know, so I don't think there's anything. And same with any of those country artists. Like if Luke Graham is one of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like if Luke Graham or someone wanted to do that, you know, the Jelly Roll. If he wanted to make a lot of, if he wanted to go from like country, because he already has like a rap influence and does some like hip hop stuff here and there. But if he wanted to do like completely hip hop, or he wanted to go into rock music, like I'd say fucking let him. Like I have no issue with artists like, you know, going into something else and making it their own. Like if you're doing one genre, and if you're like, okay, I want to make this, fucking let them. They're artists, you know. Let them. I don't think artists should be tied down by like, oh, you have to make this kind of music. I don't think, because that really stymies a lot of artists, and then they end up putting out very like diminishing returns. And it's the same thing for like, you know, there are directors like Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele for years had the show with Michael Keegan, Key and Peele. They were comedians. Now Jordan Peele directs some incredible horror movies. If people were like, "Oh, Jordan, you should have stayed doing comedy," like that's some bullshit. Like people should. Do you remember any of the things they had said, or was it just that like kind of stay in your own lane thing?
Yeah, probably some stuff was said, but it was mainly, you know, some of it was just stay in your lane.
Was it like racist or sexist?
No.
Okay. That's good at least.
No.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, of course we started getting the tariffs, and the tariffs have affected a lot. Actually, I remember I think we talked about it in like our Christmas episode or something. But our buddy Logan had gotten his girlfriend a gift from overseas, and he was even telling us how those tariffs were, you know, kicking his ass. Because so you know the whole thing is like if you're importing things now, and with my job, I talk to people all the time who are I work in logistics shipping, and they'll you know, people will be shipping things, and it costs that much. Like, yeah, well, you know, tariffs. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. And I some people are even like, man, fuck Trump. Or like, fuck. And you know, sometimes I never did ask, but I want to ask sometimes. Like, complain about this stuff. Like, oh, who'd you vote for? You know, like, did you vote for the person who said that they were going to do this, and you know, now you're complaining because, you know, but yeah, so you know, we had the tariffs, which are not great. And okay, so let me just like I guess kind of delve into that a little bit more real quick. I am not opposed to like protectionist policies as far as like doing things to encourage like Americans to buy American or any other country to buy within their own country. I'm not opposed to protectionist policies. The thing is though, you do not get rid of the infrastructure and make it harder for people to get those imported goods without building. Like, if you want, like, okay, we're gonna make our own steel. You're gonna have to. Companies are gonna pay more for getting steel from like China or whatever.
China, they love us. They love us. We're best friends.
That's fine, but you have to then build the steel mills here, and steel isn't like computer chips, whatever. I don't care. You can't. You have to build the infrastructure first before you say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. Like that, But yeah. So in other now, neither of us are like sports fans that much, especially football. I believe though you pretty frequently like watch the game like with your family or something, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of a football guy myself.
Okay, so how did you feel with the Eagles and the Chiefs playing against each other?
That was a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a few of my family members are in these big football pools.
Okay.
Where obviously the first, second, third place. First place gets a lot of money.
Okay.
A lot of money. I mean, I've myself, I've thought about going into like a football pool, but I'm not like that knowledgeable to be able to go into a football pool. I thought the game was good. Yeah,
the Eagles won 40-22, so almost like doubled their score, which is incredible. And then of course there was a performance by Kendrick Lamar, who performed during the. So I'm one of those people where like I don't care about the game, I care about the commercials and the halftime show. The cultural part of it. The kind of party part.
Football is a culture, my guy.
I know. That's yeah. And so what I've heard though is Eagles fans often, and I don't think they did this time, but what I've heard is basically like they have a habit of whether their team wins or loses, they basically like fucking trash the place and like get into fights with people and stuff. It's not good. That said, everything seemed pretty well. But I know that Kendrick performed, and he also had according to Google at least here. Is it? Do you call it just SZA or is it SZA or like how?
It's SZA.
SZA. Okay, SZA. So SZA and apparently Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, he was like.
Oh yes, he introduced him.
Yeah, it was
That's
like
right.
the narrator.
Yes. Also Mustard. I don't know who that is, and it makes me think of that fucking Mustard King video you were showing me the other day on TikTok. He was showing me this video where this guy had been like collecting and trying all these different mustards for like the last 40 years. I hope it was AI. It looked too real to be AI, so I don't know. We'll get to AI, by the way. But he had Serena Williams.
AI is your friend.
We'll talk about it. And he had Kendrick had Serena Williams as well. I gotta be honest, so I'm not a hip-hop guy. I listen to like rock music and pop music. I don't really listen to like any. I listen to some, I guess, but but I knew like because it was like the song of the summer last year, the Drake diss, the Certified Pedophile song. What was it called? Not Like Us.
Yeah.
So like when that I knew that song, but I didn't know like any of his other music.
Drake, nasty man.
Yeah. And but it was good. It was this it was a pretty good commentary on just the nation and kind of. I think there was like I don't remember the specifics, but if I remember correctly, like there was his performance was provided commentary on like kind of the, I guess like the standing that like black people, even like him, tend to have with like with America at large and stuff like that. But moving on, we had so I don't really know any of this especially because they're not even saying what movies these are from or anything. But I guess we had the Oscars, the 97th Academy Awards ceremony. Someone named Honora, or is that a movie? I think it's a movie. Honora won 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, actress Mikey Madison. No, I guess it'd be Mickey, I don't know. And Sean Baker, director. Anyway, other people, Adrian Brody, I've heard of that guy, won Best Actor. Zoe Salonda won Best Supporting Actress. And Kieran Culkin, must be the brother of Macaulay Culkin, won Best... What is Honora?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna find out. Honora movie. What is this? Wait, is this the... Oh no, it's not that. I thought it was that Dracula movie. You know, the one, like the new Dracula one? It is a American romantic comedy drama film written... Okay. Okay. I mean, if it's not on my list, I should probably add it to my list. But cool. Let's see here. I'm trying to find stuff that will actually be able to talk, because like there's stuff here like Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost makes a successful landing on the moon. I don't know what any of that means, but good job. Oh my god, that's right. In March of this year, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was he was a Salvadoran immigrant. He was deported basically for speaking against Israel and stuff like that, and they deported him and put him in this horrible prison. There was this thing that they actually did a documentary on it on 60 Minutes, but the leader now, the person who owns CSNBC, they pulled the plug on it like at the last minute because it made basically Trump's admin look bad. And it did look bad. It was terrible. Basically, we try to keep everything fun and lighthearted here, so we're not gonna get too much into this. But basically, the Salvadorian prison was, I don't know if you've seen like the pictures or videos or anything. It's basically a concentration camp. I mean, they even have the guys like shave their heads and like kneel like before their like the officers, and it's not a good time at all. And okay. There was good news though. The astronauts that were stranded in space for a while, Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore,
I forgot about that.
They were brought back to Earth,
right.
Which was incredible. And not really much more to say about that. It was just really good. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Mark Carney was sworn in. He's the new Prime Minister of Canada. So it was Justin Trudeau, but now it's him. And they tried to get. It was between him and this guy who I don't remember his name, but he was going to. He was trying to be like a Canadian Trump almost. And it didn't work. And people voted for Carney in the end instead. Oh, that's right. And then in April,
the Pope.
Yes. So Pope Francis died.
Pope Francis is gone.
And I mean, he was 88, so he lived a long, long life. But we then had the new Pope Leo. Pope Leo the. Oh God, I'm terrible with Roman numerals. This is 14th, I think. Is that?
Maybe
X15. You don't know? Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty sure X1V is 14 or 14. So he was voted, not voted. He became the Pope. Yes, he was voted, but it was Anyway, he became the Pope, and he is the first American Pope, actually from Chicago. And many people were not happy. Of course, you had people like even like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh, Daily Wire people being like, "Oh, this is a woke Pope," people because he's a little bit he's definitely more progressive than the not Pope. Pope Francis is pretty cool, but he's more progressive than the guy who they wanted to win. Who I don't even think the other guy was American, but like there was like an outright like pretty far right fascist dude who they were trying to get to be Pope, and luckily he didn't. So the reason that things like that are important is because what we have been seeing since Trump's win is a lot of countries are having leaders that are trying to be like Trump, trying to be their version of him, and it is not going well for most of them, which is good. We also had Ozzy Osbourne had died. He actually just like a week before did like a reunion tour and finished a reunion tour with his band Black Sabbath, and like a week later he died. So I mean, I guess he really did get to like basically die doing what he lived. He did rock and roll until he died, which I think is amazing. But there were many other people that I don't really know, so I'm not going to go over them. I don't know. Do you know Robert Redford, Jane Goodall, Diane Keaton, Dara Mendra, or Rob Reiner?
I do not.
Okay, I think Rob Reiner. I've heard of him. He's a director who's actually directed a lot of movies that we've. I think he like Forrest Gump and stuff. He's directed a lot of movies that like we've seen that we've really liked. But as far as I know, he's just a good director, and I think he's like pretty progressive as well. So a lot of people were like. There were a lot of people that were like, "Oh, he was a woke liberal anyway." When he died, that was gross. But yeah. But anyway, let's see here. Oh, that's right. Yeah, in May, India and Pakistan started shooting each other. I don't know if you saw much about that, but as with many things, it's not good. A ceasefire was called in May. I think this is one of the wars, because Trump tried to say, I stopped 8 wars. I think this is one of the wars because it was like the 8-day war, or like the 3-day or something war. But it's good. War is not a good thing. War is not good. Let's see what else we have. Oh, this is pretty cool. The FDA approved the first in-home cervical cancer test. It's pretty cool. So you don't have to go to, do that whole thing if you're gonna. Oh, was this the Air India flight 171 crashed in oh god, how do you pronounce this? Ahmedabad? Shortly after takeoff. So like it's interesting, and this actually isn't related to America, but when Trump got in, he basically disbanded a bunch of like DEI programs and got rid of people that he cut down. Him and the whole Doge thing cut down a lot of like air traffic controllers as well. And I was worried for like when you went on your flight. Now it was pretty okay by the time you went, but there were people like almost crashing into each other or crashing into each other and stuff because they didn't have the manpower to, do the job that they would normally be doing, and it wasn't good. And then in June later, we started having No Kings protest. Actually, it's really cool. So June 14th, so this is really cool. June 14th was wait, was that the first one? It must have been. Yes. Yeah, okay. So June 14th It is President Trump's birthday.
Mm.
For his birthday, he did this. They also had this like military parade thing going on, and he basically tried to like make it all about him, as he does everything. And so in retaliation of that, there were these No Kings protests where people were basically protesting not that he is a king, but that he is acting like a king or a wannabe dictator. Mm. There's a lot of people, like one of my friends would always love to say, well, if he was a king, you couldn't protest against him being a king. I'm like, no, it's not about him being a king. It's about like acting like a king and a petty like tyrant. But what was really cool about this was not only did you have those two things happening, but, and this is all in DC, Warped Tour, which just came back this year, well, last year, now that we're in 2026, just came back in 2025. Warped Tour came back, and two of my favorite artists, as I mentioned, so my favorite, All Time Low, and as I mentioned before, MGK, headlined it. ATL performed, and then right after them, MGK came on. And this was all during the No Kings protests and during Trump's failure of a birthday parade and all this different stuff. There was even a moment where, like, Alex had pointed out, because it was cool, like, they came on and they had, like, these, like, color guard and these cheerleaders from this DC college or whatever, and the color guard flag twirler people were super gay, like super, and so like, you had like just down the street, from this concert happening, you had Trump trying to have this again failure of a birthday. And you even had, like, Alex kind of pointed that Alex, the lead singer of All Time Low, pointed out where he's like, yeah, there's something else going on here, but we're not worried about any of that. We're just here to have a good time, and you love each other, respect each other, and all right, let's rock and roll, kind of thing, right? So it was a good fun, it was good. It was good shit. And then after that, Florida Panthers won their second Stanley Cup. Good for them. Do you care about that at all?
Nah.
Okay, we'll move on. This is something you and I both care about. A little animated movie popped up on Netflix that people, some people checked that out of curiosity. It kind of blew up, like, almost as soon as it came out. K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, I will explain our experience with this, our shared experience. So, I had been seeing some memes and things on Reddit and people talking about, oh my god, this is so good, so good. And we were like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Like, I pulled it up and I was like, yeah, I've been hearing about this, and it's pretty good. Let's give it a shot. And everyone was like, yeah, alright, sure, like, whatever. And I remember you weren't expecting much at all. You were not.
I was like, this is probably going to be dumb.
Yeah.
And whatever.
And we start watching it. How did you feel?
Pretty good. I quickly swallowed my insults, and the movie was fantastic. Like, probably out of 2025, like, top movies, it's probably my top 5 or top 3.
I think it might be my favorite because I like Superman, which we'll get to later. But I really like K-pop. It's such a good movie. And it is different,
It
is, yes.
It's like, yeah, you blend demon hunting with K-pop singers.
Yeah.
That like Chinese,
Well, and it took in, yes, it took in from
these,
Korean.
Yeah.
Yes, and it took in from, and it did like the kind of thing Disney tries to do. But so much, it had comedy, it had heart, it had action, it was a musical in a way, but it wasn't like a lame music, the kind of musicals normally are. It was like, these are fucking pop stars, and they're just like fucking, like from the jump, when they hit with, when How It's Done started, like, and you had like the cinematography, well, I guess the choreography of like, you had them like hitting these demons and stuff to the beat of the music and all this shit. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then it continued and it just went on. It was such a good fucking movie. To me, this is like, It's a little bit similar to like Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, where it's like this is the. I will say I do prefer it to both of those movies, but this is like the kind of like the new standard, I would say.
No.
And I think it's well deserved how well it's doing. You know?
Yeah.
There's been some controversy about it. Like I remember we never talked about. I wanted to talk about this one day, but we had so many other things going on. But there were these schools. I think they were like Christian private schools or whatever that was banning anything having to do with like K-pop Demon Hunters. Kids weren't allowed to like sing the songs. They weren't allowed to like wear anything with K-pop Demon Hunters on them. They weren't allowed to like I don't bring like a lunchbox with like the girls on them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there is like, well, it's demons. So it's like they're demon hunters. They're killing the demon. Like, what do you mean? They're killing the demon. You don't. Yeah, it's the same thing with like Harry Potter and Pokemon and how those people have always been about that shit. It's the fucking pearl clutching, like bullshit. It's never gonna end. People are always gonna do that over whatever's new that they don't understand. It's crazy. But on that note, I know, like you got really into K-pop Demon Hunters for a minute, especially Zoe. I remember you really like Zoe.
I do.
Like
I
that's, and a lot of people like I see a lot more stuff on like Reddit and stuff that's like thirst or like cute romantic whatever for Zoe, like if they were to date her or hook up, whatever, you know. And I'm like, damn, like me, I liked Rumi. I like Rumi the best. I think she was, you know, but to me, she was the most attractive and the most like. I tend to like the main character anyway. That's just how I am. But no, Zoe's cute. Like I get it. She's a rapper. You know, you like rap. You know, stuff like that. So it makes sense. You know. Yeah. But I will say, like, if they had instruments, I could definitely see like. So all of them would sing, Rumi would be like playing guitar. Fuck, what's the pink haired one?
Mira.
Mira would be playing bass. And Zoe would go fucking wild on the drums.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she would just... I could see it. Like, it'd be fucking cool. But yeah, I mean, the movie fucking blew up. Apparently, there's like a expanded universe they're trying to do from it, which is really cool. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, they were planning on doing a live action, but that was quickly scrapped.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it was like, good. No one wants a live action. No.
So I think, for the most part, anything with magical or superpowers or whatever works better animated, for the simple fact that there's a lot of stuff you just can't do in real life. Even with CG animation, like you look at it and you're like, we might as well just animate it at all, because CG can look out of place, for example. So you know, moving on from that great fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, fucking you owe it to yourself. It's incredible. It's very easy to look and go, oh, this is a kid's thing. This is a girly movie or whatever. It's just a good fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely like age appropriate for, regardless of some of the memes. It is age appropriate for, like, it's family friendly, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a really good message too about like self acceptance and you know, it's so fucking good. Yeah. So. Oh yeah, there were. Oh god, that's right. Okay, so I remember my friend, the same one who was like, "Well, you can't be a king." America, you know, dropped bombs on Iran, and that there honestly isn't really much to say about that other than it's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's wrong, I think, for us to do things like that. You know, they try to say it's because basically we're doing it for Israel or whatever, which there have been many things such as that, and this fealty that America has been paying to Israel for years now, that is giving rise to this new wave of anti-Semitism that we're seeing, where we'll get to it a little bit more later, but MAGA is basically dead, and we're seeing now the rise of this movement called America First, which is just outright Nazi shit. Like completely anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. It's all the Jews' fault kind of thing. It's terrible. And when America and other countries do this, like, you know, again, like this fealty and just like suck the dick of Israel constantly, like it's not. They're just giving credence to those anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
No. I just say America should focus on itself first. And once we correct our own problems we have and our own issues we have in our country, then, if we want to, we can go and do all these other things that we're doing.
So, I think we do definitely need to... So, for example, like, yes, we, instead of, like, all that money that funds things like bombing Iran or giving missiles to Israel or whatever, like funding these forever wars and these foreign wars and stuff, that money could be used to like feed the homeless, feed like starving children, and like do and do things to like actually better
America.
The people in this country. On that same note, though, I will say that while I agree with what you're saying, going too far in that direction could lead you into like an isolationist thing, which is what we used to be. We learned after World War I, especially World War II, that isolationism doesn't work, because when there are countries doing horrible things like what Hitler was doing in throughout the beginning of World War II, basically you have this situation where you have to stop it. You have to like pitch in to stop it and make things better for everybody. Otherwise, it's gonna hit you eventually, and you don't want you don't want that to happen either. So,
well, the thing is, there is like we're not the only country in the world.
100%.
There's a ton of other countries that can help out. Like they can do what we do.
Yes,
but we just kind of focus on ourselves, I think.
Well, but I think it is important to. So, like with the Ukraine and Russia, for example, I think it's important for us to help our allies when they are actually our allies and they actually do something for us, like Ukraine or like England or Japan. But like with Israel, it's like all we do, we give and give to them, and they don't do anything for us. So it's like, but yeah, we definitely do need to focus more on ourselves. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, because I would rather take care of the homeless, make sure they're home, they have homes, and the hungry. I'd rather be doing that than the money I make from working my ass off. That's being sent over to give missiles to a country. Like it just, why? No,
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
So there was also...
That's just my take.
I forgot about this as well. I don't know if you remember, but there were these horrible floods that were happening in Texas. And one of them was, there were you remember, we used to go on youth group trips with our like church groups. Remember that?
I think I went on one.
Well, but you know people do that at least.
Right, yeah.
So these girls were on this trip. And they were caught up in the floods, and they were washed away. It was at a place called Camp Mystic. They had these flash floods, and it wasn't good. It's one of those instances where these natural disasters are hurting people, but we do, there's reason to believe that this stuff is being caused by the changes in the environment that we're destroying our planet in many different ways, and we only have one of these. We're not
humans. We're pretty. We're one of the worst.
Did you talk about the rhino thing on the pod, or was that off recording?
That was off. off recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that at all?
I mean, just to put it simply, it's I think it was
the white rhino.
the white African rhino.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was called. The last male is no longer with us. There's only 2 females left of the white African rhinos. All the other rhinos of that race of rhinos, of that species of rhinos, they're all dead.
So they're not repopulating.
No, I mean they can't.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So if if my kids one day are like, oh, I like rhinos. I'm like, well, what kind of rhinos do you like? Oh, well, those white African ones seem pretty cool. Well, there's only 2 left. Why? Well, let me tell you, humans are the worst.
Yeah.
We create, all these, we create these cities and we create all these things to help better our lives and whatnot. But at the same time, we love to just destroy and pillage and just, no. So, but, that's essentially what that is about the whole. There's only 2 more white African female rhinos left in the world.
Yeah.
And I think on the post I saw they're heavily guarded. So,
I mean, as sad as it is to say, it doesn't even really matter because once they're gone, that's it.
Yeah.
But on one hand, for one, at least there are still rhinos in general.
Mm-hmm.
But also, on one hand, we've had other animals go extinct before, and it also sucks. But, there was this thing I saw, I think a friend of mine was showing it to me, where it was some kind of tiger. And it was it was a version of a tiger that's no longer around. And it was when film first started being developed was the last time it was seen. So they were able to get it on film before it became extinct. But it was not. So I don't remember what it was though. I'd have to ask my friend, I think. But it's not good. Preservation of wildlife, I think, is very, very important. And
when it comes to wildlife preservation, we lost one of the best. I mean, dare I say, the best. Well,
wait, who?
Who? I can't believe you're asking that question, man.
Do you mean this year?
No, just.
Do you mean Crocodile Dundee?
No. Oh no. Freaking Steve Irwin, my guy.
That's Crocodile Dundee.
That's Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard him.
Really? I think.
Be named that. I don't think so.
Wasn't that a show or something?
Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah.
Was that his nickname?
I think, or it's Dundee. Okay, no, he played a character, Mick Crocodile Dundee.
Oh.
No, wait, hold on. Steve Irwin was not the fictional character. Mick Crocodile Dundee, played by Paul Hogan, but it was often called the real... Oh, wait, no, so Crocodile Dundee was a different person.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, Steve Irwin, my guy.
So, I will say I don't know much about the guy, but... Okay, so Crocodile Dundee was someone else. Okay, let me just ask. What exactly did Steve Irwin do? What makes him so special?
Well, he bought a bunch of wildlife preserves, saved a bunch of animals, put them in those reserves, and made sure that most of the animals that he saved did not go extinct.
Okay.
And that's what his son and his daughter are doing right now.
Well, that's good.
No.
Okay.
Everyone's not bad.
No. But I just,
everyone's not a terrible person.
No, I know. But I just always thought like, I don't know. I always thought like Steve Irwin was like kind of like overrated or something. Like people talked about it.
No,
what did he do? He had some like reality show where because the only thing I knew about him, my mom like told me about this years ago, and she was like outraged. He like put his like baby to like close to like an alligator's face or something.
Yeah.
And like she was, oh my god, that's terrible. Like that's all I knew about him. So
no.
I didn't know anything he did that was like good or whatever. I just knew people liked him, and I was like, I guess people like the show, but like
no, there's this short, not film, but this like short video where Steve Irwin's getting interviewed with his wife, and the interviewer asked him, so like if you like what is I'm gonna botch, but essentially the interviewer asked like, hey, like what would you do if you had like this amount of money? He's like, well, I'd do the same thing I'm doing right now. I'd buy all this land. I'd make it into preserves, save all the animals. Money. I can't get enough of money. Money is fantastic. If I had a bunch of money, I would just keep on doing the same thing. And he's like, I want to be able to live in a world, and I want my kids to be able to live in a world where where the air is nice and fresh and clean.
Yeah.
You can drink clean water from a river.
Yeah.
You can do all these things. The ozone layer, all that. He's just
ozone layer.
The ozone layer. I can't get enough of the money, mate. He's just he was a wholesome person that we lost alongside one of my favorite comedians, because I watched a lot of his stuff, Robin Williams. And, seems I quote, the good do die young, or whatever it's called, the good die young?
Well, the good die young.
Yeah,
but
the good die
Robin
young.
Williams was pretty old when he died.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was. He was like 50, 60 something.
You call that old?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, not exactly young.
Oh, sure, but he's not like on a cane. Like
no, but when the people say the good die young, I always thought that meant like in their like like they're like as a kid or like their 20s or 30s at the oldest.
No.
Mm-mm. Oh, okay.
No.
I thought it was normally in reference to like a kid.
Oh no.
Oh, the kid died. Yeah.
No, but yeah, man, we lost one of the greats. Rest in peace. And by a stingray of all animals.
Yeah, stingray.
A stingray? Really? Come on. Like,
yeah.
Come on, stingray. What are you doing? Like, if anything, if he was to, if he, was to be killed by any animal, I would have thought it would, ironically be a croc. Be a croc.
A crocodile.
Crocodile, mate. Or something.
So,
but
do they have crocodiles? So, they have crocodiles in... Oh no, it's alligators we only have here. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think the difference between a crocodile and an alligator are the ridges on its back and tail.
Yeah.
I think a crocodile, the ridges are more longer, or like the fins, whatever they're called.
Listen, I don't want to be racist. I think scales, by the way. I don't want to be racist, but to me, they don't look the same. I said what I said. Yeah, I don't know. So on that note, especially like losing things that were like childhood icons and stuff. So Doge cut funding for USAID, and USAID, one of the things that it funded basically what it was formed in 1961, and the whole point of it was to promote global economic prosperity, advance food security, strengthen democracy, and provide humanitarian assistance, among other efforts. One of those efforts. Everything from CBS, including Sesame Street and Bill Nye the Science Guy,
Bill,
and Mr. Rogers and all that, Bob Ross, all that, was ultimately funded by USAID. So now, Sesame Street, which was created in the 70s, is no longer going to be existing. Bill Nye is still like doing his thing, but he like his program, like all these things.
Bill Nye, he's a funny guy.
He's a great guy.
There's this one interview I saw where he like crashed out.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm so sick and tired of you. You progressive and I'm so sick and tired. Like you guys aren't little kids anymore. Where I have to explain the neurons mixed with blah blah. I'm so sick and tired of you people. All you people, doesn't matter who you are. He was like, crashing out. I was like, dang, Bill Nye, what happened? It's like Bill Nye crashing out over here.
Yeah, I don't remember what he was, but I remember that crash up. I don't remember what he was like going off about. But no, I would put Bill Nye in the same category as like Steve Irwin and what's his name? Steve Rogers and people like that. Bob Ross, all those guys, 100%. Apparently, the band K-pop. I guess in South Korea, they have to do kind of like how some other countries have it, where like you have to go into the military for a while.
So it's like required.
Yeah,
like you at least have to do 1 year when you get out of high school.
Yeah, so they did that, and then they came back. And they apparently have announced a new tour and album scheduled for 26 for next year. Something about a comet with NASA. I don't really care about that. The whole thing with Texas. Talked about that. Oh my god! I forgot about this. Oh god, the Coldplay concert. You remember that? I remember you even like brought this to my attention. Like, you didn't hear about this? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? And he showed me.
Cheaters, aren't they great?
Yeah. So there was a kiss cam while Coldplay was doing a show, and it went on this looked like a nice couple, just holding each other. But as soon as the camera was on them, they both turned around, tried to hide their face, and all these different things.
They were full of shame.
They were full of shame. I guess, hey, it was brought back, at least for them.
Because that does deserve shame.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Cheating, you're shameful.
Yeah.
And you will be shamed.
Infidelity. No, to me, infidelity is one of the worst things you can do to someone. To make matters worse, they found out that not only were they both cheating on their significant others.
That's sad. But
she was also like the HR manager. And it's like, dude, like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. There is a journalist, and like, I only watch her YouTube videos, but this woman by the name of Taylor Lorenz, that I like a lot of her work. She actually talked about this though, where like it is really fucked up though that we are at a point now with technology where we can just see their faces and like now we know where they work. Now we know what they do. Yeah. Now we know everything about this person just from that's terrifying. Like that's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were funnily enough that they were executives at a tech company themselves, and they both resigned from their jobs. Oh, was this in June or July? Okay, so there was an ad featuring Sydney Sweeney, and I know you like Sydney Sweeney. I think she's hot. I like Sydney Sweeney enough. She did an ad with denim where they said Sydney Sweeney has great jeans.
She does.
And here's the thing: she, in the ad, she talked about like she had like somehow, jeans determine things like eye color, hair color, height, whatever, stuff like that, right? Skin color. And a lot of people took this because she's a white blonde woman as saying like, oh, this is like Nazi dog whistling. And I can understand why people took it that way. But what I think is they were just trying to say like, she's hot. Like she's a good looking woman. She has good genes. She does have good genes.
Yeah, she has good,
genes.
Yeah, she has good genes.
Yeah.
But instead of the GENES,
right,
like a pair of jeans.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a play on words.
Yeah.
But what I thought was crazy was no one ever pointed out the fact that her genes did not even give her blonde hair. She dyes her hair blonde. Like
people will be people.
Yeah.
You can't please them all.
But one of the things I'll say about that as well is there was God, I'm trying to find. I don't remember who it is, but here, let me just. There was So this ad was like a. That was it. Okay. So this ad was kind of like a remake of an '80s Calvin Klein ad featuring Brooke Shields, who was like a famous '80s actress and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things, and they did the whole like good genes thing, right? But also, she was not of age, and in my opinion. While you can say, like, oh, well, they're just, modeling jeans. No, they're not. Like, she was, like, in her underwear, like, getting the jeans on and stuff like that. It was creepy. Like, at least Sydney is, 25 or something now? Mm-hmm. Like, she's she's, like, in her 20s. She's, like, a hot young woman. Brooke was a kid. Like, that wasn't okay. So, but overall, I think people were overreacting. However, she did recently. It's weird because on one hand, like she recently talked to someone and she basically just kind of like doubled down on it. And she's kind of become this like darling of the alt-right, where they're trying to be like, oh yeah, we love Sydney. She's so anti-woke and all this stuff, whatever. And they think she's like a racist like them. But recently, she's also said like, don't use like me for like your like hateful stuff. So it's kind of. We don't really know like where she stands. She doesn't really like speak much like about her like political views or whatever. We know that she comes from like a pretty like conservative background and stuff like that. But I don't know. Let's see. So this was a big. People lost their minds over this. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged.
It's like, whoa, two people got engaged.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, people.
But I understand why people freaked out so much about this, especially because he is like a star quarterback or something for like the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think so.
And she is this like super popular singer. So you have these two worlds. These megastars of these two different worlds coming together. I understand why people freaked out about it so much in that way. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, guys, like, calm it down, I do think, like, it's fine, let people be happy, right? That's my big thing. Let people be happy about and enjoy these things. I'm not going to yuck someone's yum. I don't really care, but it's sweet. It is what it is. Do we want to talk about that yet? I guess. I would say this was probably around the time that we started seeing like AI become more and more prevalent, and we started seeing it in like this is like August. We started seeing it more in like YouTube Shorts and you watched a lot of TikTok, so you tell me, were you seeing a lot of like AI in TikTok around this time?
I don't think so.
Okay. Was it more recent? Because I know you see it now.
Yeah.
And now it's to the point where we see things where, oh god, I hope that's AI. Because we'll see some crazy shit and we'll be like, god, I hope that's not real.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is like, most of the time, not all the time, so it's getting to the point where it's like, these all need to have a watermark because it looks too real. And I'm like, when... I like Gemini, and the fact that they have that little watermark, I'm good with that. Sora launched earlier this year, or last year, sorry, and it has a little watermark thing that moves around, kind of like TikTok and stuff like that. But people are still falling for this stuff, especially older people. Like I remember I was telling you. In the last episode that I think it was whatever, where like when I was over at my mom's for Christmas, she was telling me about these things, and I was like looking at them. I was like, where did you get this information? And she would like show it to me. I'd be like, that's AI. She's like, well, how can you tell? I'm like, and honestly, I don't know how you explain or how you develop this skill. It's just something that like I feel the younger generation has, or at least us. I don't know if like Gen Alpha or whatever are growing up with so much AI that they can't tell the difference. I don't know. Maybe we're like in that sweet spot. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what it is. But I don't want to do like we're actually the best generation. Everyone before us sucks and everyone after us sucks. Like no, because a lot of people do that too. But oh yeah, that's right. Trump deployed the National Guard against in DC and then later LA, and there were protests against that. There was this thing where the whole thing with like ICE and all this stuff is about like we're trying to get the illegal immigrants out and all this stuff. So they went to people's like jobs and they were going to people, and they still are. They're going to like courthouses and stuff and are like deporting people right before they're about to become a citizen, or like while they're on the job doing what they're supposed to do. It's like, bro, just like this, they're just trying to get rid of the Mexicans. They're trying to get rid of the brown people. And what we've seen as well is there's always been this, we only want, the best in the brightest or whatever, people coming over. And yet you have, so like there were refugees from South Africa who were white. So they were like, we can let them in. Okay, so what's really the issue here? You know what I mean? Like, is it you just say you don't want people who aren't white? Like that's really what it comes down to. They're being so like blatant about it. Let's see, what else is there? Let's see here. That was in September. Okay, so in September, they started, and at the time of this recording, they actually have like really attacked Venezuela. But we're talking about 2025, not 2026. They started bombing basically fishing boats. They were bombing civilian boats, doing missile strikes, and then they even were doing these things called double taps, where basically like they'd shoot them once. And it's already inoperable, but then they shot it again to make sure there were no survivors. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. And they tried to say, they're smuggling drugs or whatever on there. No, they're not. They're not, and you have no like reason to think they are. They're just, I think a lot of this, and especially now that, I think a lot of this is really just like Trump doing what he wants to do in being a bully to other nations. And it's like, you have to listen to us because we're America. It's like, no, like we shouldn't just be bullying other nations like this. It's horrible. It's evil. It's also really fucking like pathetic when you think about it. But there was I don't remember exactly when this happened, but I do remember this as well. Similar, like along these lines. So there was a group chat that got leaked between a bunch of like people in Trump's cabinet, and it was like really fucking crazy far right like Nazi shit that they were saying, and it was discussing war plans, and it was all this different stuff, and it was a huge like security risk, and they had people in the group chat that shouldn't have been there, and it became this whole thing where they were like, what the fuck, guy? Like, you can't do this, you can't like have these group chats where it was crazy. It was crazy. That's right. Okay, so there was this kid. My dad told me about it originally. This kid's name was Carlo Acutis. He died at 15 from leukemia. He was canonized by Leo as the first millennial saint, which he wouldn't really be millennial, he'd be Gen Z, but whatever. He's also known as the patron saint of the internet, for example, because basically what he did was he like made a website for people to I don't know exactly what it was, but he made some kind of website that like brought people closer to like their religion or something. And they thought that was a really nice thing, and he seemed like an okay guy from what I what I had heard, and it's always sad that when people die young like that. You know?
Mhm.
Speaking of the whole leukemia thing, though, I don't know if it was Doge or the Big Beautiful Bill, but they also cut research. Not like completely. They're not doing it at all, but they like cut down on funding for cancer research.
Mm.
So that's great.
Yep.
That's wonderful. There were these Nepal protests, which I gotta be honest, I don't really know what that's about. Apparently it has something to do with a social media ban. That's not good. Oh, I don't remember if it happened in September, but the UK. Oh, so in the beginning of the year, our state, and I think a few others, had joined the groups of states that you now have to show your ID online in order to access adult websites, which does not even just mean like porn, but just anything that like the state doesn't want you to access if you're not a kid, which is not good. Personally, hashtag not sponsored, but I use a VPN to get around this stuff. But it's really terrifying what they're doing with the internet right now, what a lot of countries, because we are going through that situation, and then what the UK just did, I don't even know how exactly they implemented this, but they implemented like a blanket ban on like not even just like adult websites, but like if you're on like Reddit or Twitter or something, and you're seeing like, you know, people post thirst traps and stuff. So that stuff isn't even like visible for like kids that are under. And on one hand, that's good because I think there should be like a child version of those websites. I also think kids just shouldn't be online, but that's a whole other thing. But at the same time, I don't think it's good how they can just like flip a switch and take away something that you had access to. Like I think the internet should be a free, like the Wild West. You know what I mean? I don't think like these restrictions like that there should be certain restrictions for sure. But I don't like things like that. Things like that are crazy. You know, because one of the big things it does is like you got kids like if they're like questioning like their gender identity or whatever, or maybe or even just like mental health or whatever. Those resources on like Reddit and stuff are deemed as like adult topics, so they can't. You can have a kid who's like, you know, suffering like with like suicidal thoughts or whatever, and well now they can't get like online help or resources because it's adult content. It's not like appropriate for them. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you know, it's not good. So September 10th, I remember this because I was off this day, and it caused a rift in our friend group.
Dun, 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 dun.
So Charlie Kirk, a big like right-wing political commentator, was killed during a debate he was having, and many people reacted to it in a bunch of different ways. Honestly, at this point, it's really just become a meme. A lot of people just like make fun of him at this point. And you have like that weird AI "We Are Charlie Kirk" song and stuff like that. So he really is just a meme at this point. But when it first happened, there was this weird like, you know, enforced memorial thing we were all like basically told that we had to have for this guy, and that really bugged me because I knew how the like fans of Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk himself, these people were being about people about like his political opponents and people that he just didn't like dying. And it's like, so you got to make fun of like George Floyd and like these like Democratic senators and stuff that were killed, but we can't make fun of you. We have to, not only can we not make fun of you, like we have to act like we're sad that you're gone. You know what I mean? Like it's never good when someone dies, and murder and political violence are not good in the slightest. Like I don't support that at all. But I had a real issue with this like this like mandatory mourning. You know, like did you mourn Charlie Kirk properly? No, I don't. And then you have people who like didn't care or didn't know, and it's you're a terrible person. It's like I hate that shit.
Mm.
So what caused the rift in our friendship, I remember, was, basically like our buddy Patrick had just, he mentioned something about it, and I talked about this with him when we like cleared things up a couple months later. But I projected what I was seeing other conservatives, how they were behaving, onto him, and as like, we have to mourn him, and I'm like, I'm not gonna mourn the guy. Like, I'm not. I don't like that he's gone. I don't support political violence, but I'm not gonna act like he was such a great person, and I'm sad that he's gone.
And that's fine.
But I thought, and this was wrong with me, but I thought that Patrick was doing that same thing, where like I had to mourn him.
No,
and that was not what he was doing.
No.
So that was, but then, we had a bit of a falling out for a couple months, but then we patched things up, and our friend group is strong again, and it's beautiful. So, but I just wanted to talk about my experience with that. Something about some football guy, Osman Dembele, I don't know, did something for football. Won.
Oh, I have no idea.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really. So like the whole like, I mean, I don't know. It's related, but the whole everything with like that whole Kirk situation. Like, I also thought this was going to be used to really clamp down on free speech. And it was at first. Like, Jimmy Kimmel got taken off the air for like making a joke that wasn't even really in that bad of taste. They took him off the air, but then he came back and it was good.
They did.
It was it was the first real win, I would say, that we had against the Trump admin. So that was good. But Israeli hostages were released, which is really good. Like, I want to be clear, like, I don't, Israel as a state, fucking evil. Like, the way that they are, Zionism, all that, not good. But yeah, it's good that the hostages were released, Like, hostages are not, it's not good, to have hostages on either side. And then they eventually had a ceasefire, which we'll get to. I guess we can get into that now. They had a ceasefire between Israel and Palestine, which Israel then almost immediately broke. But that's how that goes. But October 3rd, little not too well known of a guy by the name of Sean Combs, better known as Diddy. He was officially sentenced and indicted to, get this, 50 months in prison.
50?
50. For all the shit that he did, all we got was 50 months. That's like 4 years. If like 2.5 years, I don't know. I'm not a math guy.
Well, I mean, for all the criminals that do all that disgusting stuff to women and children, he's probably already being in jail or prison.
Maybe.
Because that is the one thing inmates will band together over. People who...
Well, he probably has his own cell.
Yeah, of course.
If that's the case.
Of course he does.
Well, because when people do things like that, they put them in their own cell, because otherwise the inmates will beat them up or kill them.
No.
But, I don't know when it happened here. I'm not seeing it, like, here specifically, but at some point in the year, we had, I thought it was cool when I first saw it. I understand why a lot of people were not thrilled with it. But basically, Katy Perry and a bunch of other women went up in a rocket
to space
for like 11 minutes.
Yeah.
And came back down. And what I think could be cool about that, two things. One, when I first saw it, I thought those were the women that were like being brought back, like that were stuck in space and were being brought back down. And I'm like, oh, they got a bunch of baddies up there. I'm like, what happened?
No, they went up for 11 minutes, came right back down.
Yeah.
And thought, oh my gosh, we did such a good thing.
Yeah.
What did you do up there?
Nothing. They just experienced.
Exactly.
But I do think that concept, because like people used to, it used to be like extremely expensive and everything for people to like fly on a plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like take a train or whatever. And it was very like only for the rich or whatever. I think that maybe in like another 50 to 100 years or so, that technology will be commonplace, and you, maybe not you specifically, but just the average person can go up and go in a rocket and just fly up as like a little ride. Mm-hmm. You know, like, oh, we're going to take a rocket flight, you know? You know? Yeah. The same way you do like a roller coaster or something, you know?
Yeah.
Just a nice little ride. I think that could be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. What else is there? Oh my god. Oh my god, that's right. I don't know if you saw this when it happened, but so like Donald Trump had been talking about wanting to build a ballroom, right? So he knocked down the entire east wing of the White House so he can put up this gaudy-ass fucking ballroom. It looks so fucking trashy, and it's just like... And I mean, that's him, right? Gaudy, ostentatious, trashy, like that's, you know, how he is. But, I mean, come on, dude. It's like, it's ridiculous, man. Let's see here. Oh my god, yes! Some of the best news of the year. In November, some of the best news politically speaking. We talked about it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, what's the greatest news of the year?
We talked about a lot of the best news, like entertainment wise and stuff. But we didn't talk about Superman yet. I mean, we should talk about that because that came out in like the summer, so we have to talk about that. But Zoran Mamdani was he's a self-described democratic socialist, and was elected as mayor of New York City. I have never seen this must be the way that I am seeing this guy and feeling about this guy. This must be the way people felt about Obama when he was running for president and they were voting for him. Because I'm like, I really wish that he was born in America so he could run for president. Because this is the kind of person that I want to see actually run the country. He seems to, you know, really care about the people and want to, you know, put policies in place that are going to actually, you know, better everybody. Like one of his big things were like rent freezes, free bus. You know, like our rent goes up every month.
But isn't that just going to happen in New York City?
Yes, but
so you don't live in New York City.
I don't. But
so how's that going to help you?
Because so first of all, I didn't say it's going to help me directly. What I'm saying is, this is the direction that the Democrats need to go in general. This and what this does. So what's great about this is you see the policies that he implements, and we'll see them work and make people's lives better in New York City. So then now that you have that proof, you have something to point to and to say, okay, you can't keep saying, well, socialism doesn't work because we have it right here working. And then you say, now let's try it in this state. And let's try it in this state. Now let's try it on like a federal scale, on whatever it might be. So you keep implementing these policies to get more, and it's not even like he's not like implementing like socialism like broadly. It's socialist policies, things like, so you know how our rent goes up like every year. So rent freeze is to make it so that doesn't happen. Imagine if like what you were paying, what you're paying for rent, you didn't get that thing every year that's like, we're going to be increasing your rent in the next 30 days. That kind of thing, right?
Well, as I always say, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Well,
and if it never happens, oh well, yeah. But if it does happen, great, fantastic. Yeah. So again, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. He was actually just sworn in yesterday, because January 1st, that's when all the people that he was just sworn in, and he actually he does seem like he's great at giving speeches, for sure. He's great at like speaking 100%. But as far as actually governing, he signed some executive orders that are going to, I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I remember when I was like originally hearing about them yesterday and today, that it seems like he's definitely doing things to get New York in a better position. And I think that what we're going to see, and like you said, you'll believe when you see it, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's why like I'm excited for that happening in New York, because myself and other people who support this policy, if you will be able to point to that and say, there you go, now you can see it. Now let's try it here.
Now,
so
in this alternate reality,
sure,
what if none of the stuff that he says comes to fruition?
None of the stuff he says comes to fruition. It's just going to be a really big disappointment. It's going to be, it'll be a really, really big disappointment. We already saw it with Obama, and I don't think we're going to with him, but because from the time Obama was elected, he was like, he spoke like a socialist, and regardless of what he talked about, they were still calling him the right was still calling him a socialist. But he never called himself that. Mamdani is like out and out. He's like, yeah, I'm a socialist. Like, that's what I am. I'm a democratic socialist. Like, I am trying to implement these policies because I believe they're going to make things better for everybody. And a lot of it is about like making the rich pay their fair share and stuff like that. And a lot of them have been like, oh well, if they try to raise taxes or if the rich are going to leave, it's fucking New York City. They're not leaving. And we've already seen that capital flight, as it's called, is more of a threat and a myth rather than a real thing that happens. Especially with New York. But that's right. On November 12th, the very last penny was minted. First produced in 1793. Coins became more expensive to make than their actual worth. That is crazy. It cost more to make a 1 cent penny. Actually, that does make sense. Yeah, that does make, because they're copper, and copper is going to cost more than a cent. There are some 250 billion pennies currently in circulation. But no more. Not making any more. So you will never see, how coins have years on them? You'll never see a penny that says 2026. Not going to happen. 2025 is the last one. Oh yeah. On November 12th, the longest government shutdown started. Went on for 43 days. Almost went on till like Christmas. It was a long time. And the reason ultimately that the Democrats had shut this down was to basically they wanted to protect the Affordable Care Act, commonly referred to as Obamacare, which basically makes it so that So you don't remember this because we weren't around for this, but companies used to be able to do things like, if you had like asthma or something, a company could say, we don't want to insure you. You're a liability. You know, you have pre-existing conditions, they called it. We don't want to insure you. Also, like how you and I were on our parents' insurance until we were 26, that was part of the ACA. So there were a lot of things like that were very beneficial for people, and it was just more affordable form of insurance for a lot of people that couldn't afford insurance otherwise. It was a Band-Aid solution. It wasn't perfect. I very much believe that we should have Medicare for all, or at least some kind of public option. We need something where people can just have, because Medicare is one of those things where in economics there's this thing called inelastic goods. So you have like an elastic good is something like, well, a gaming system like the Nintendo Switch 2, which costs like $500, and the games cost $80.
Yeah.
Now, as outrageous as that is, you don't need a Nintendo Switch to survive. You can wait until there's a price drop. You can get it from a secondhand store. You can save up for it. You can do all these different things. But say you're diagnosed with cancer, or say you're in a horrible car accident, or something else happens. How much are you going to pay to get better, to extend your life, to numb the pain, to do whatever it is you need to do? You're going to pay as much as it costs. That's an inelastic good, because you don't really have a choice to pay that money. That's not that's something where you're going to pay whatever you need to survive. You can, as annoying as it is to make like a gaming system that much money and the games that much money, you don't need them to survive. But you might need like your medication, your like whatever it is. What if you have some like mental thing and some kind of mental illness or whatever condition, and you need like this medication to survive? And yeah. Now your rates went up from like $25 to like $300 a month. What the fuck are you gonna do? You know? So like I believe like all that stuff should be free. I also believe like housing and food should be free, but that's one other thing. Anyway, what's really sad about it though is that the government shutdown didn't work. They did the big beautiful bill, and they basically, got what they wanted with it. Premium rates, like I don't know if you're on insurance and if you've checked what your insurance is, but a lot of people's rates have skyrocketed. It's really, I've heard people talking about it, like at my work, for example. Oh my god, my rates went up. Yeah, dude. Like people like me knew this was gonna happen. You didn't fucking listen. Yeah. So it's not great. But yeah. Also, oh yeah, and then they weren't wanting to do full back pay for like, military workers and people like that who were out a month and a half without money. We're just like, oh, we're not gonna, pay it back to you. Like, fuck you, dude. But toward the end of November, like pretty much right before what is it? What's it called? Thanksgiving. November 20th, Trump signed legislation ordering the release of the Epstein files. Now, they had done these, stunts before where they'd been like, oh, here, we have these binders, and then we got the Epstein files. There's nothing here, because the Epstein files are fake, or whatever, and you had people like Pam Bondi and Kash Patel at first say that, oh, the Epstein files are right on my desk, and then, there are no Epstein files, and, well, there are, but actually Epstein only trafficked victims for himself and his wife, Ghislaine Maxwell, and, all these different... So, all these changing stories, all these lies happening. And then, of course, in December, the Epstein files were finally released.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've seen these files, at least briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Do they look like, do they look like they've been what we were expecting when we were told we were going to get the Epstein files? You think people were expecting just a bunch of black pages with nothing on them, nothing like...
They're like, psych!
It's basically illegal.
Mm.
It's like the DOJ was like ordered to release these files, and it was supposed to be like a searchable format, all these different things, and basically what they did, it's pretty clear that what they did was they got like this group of people who were supposed to, like they were given one job, okay, you need to try and take out anything having to do with Trump. Because that's really what it comes down to. Like they were really trying to, and it's funny because they're always like, oh, what's his face? Bill Clinton's in the Epstein files too. Great. If he's also, which yes, I'm sure he is also a pedophile. Fucking get his ass too. I don't give a fuck. Who cares? This isn't about like only arrest a Republican. Like I don't give a fuck. Like fuck you. Like no, arrest the criminals. Because of how bad Elon Musk's brand had become and Tesla's brand had become, we started seeing a lot of, this was earlier in the year, mind you, but I just remember this, we started seeing attacks and vandalism on like Cybertrucks and Teslas and stuff like that. And I do not support like vandalism and stuff in general. I think if you're gonna do something like vandalize someone's Tesla or their Cybertruck or whatever, I don't think you should get a Cybertruck in the first place. They're stupid things. Again, our buddy Logan has a Tesla, and it's a pretty fucking nice car. Not something I would want, but it's pretty fucking nice.
Yeah.
It's very, especially technologically impressive. I think if you're going to do some kind of vandalism like that, you should do something that's going to be, like, pretty easy to get rid of. Like, you want to spray something on their car or whatever that they can just wash off. Okay. I don't think people should be, like, breaking things or setting stuff on fire or whatever, but, that's, of course, the point of protesting, as we've spoken about before. I'm never on the podcast, I don't think, but the point of protesting is to cause a disruption, so people have to pay attention to what you're protesting. But yeah, so
tell that to the truck drivers. Oof, they'll just run you over. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's not good.
Yeah.
This is some of our last
like for me, like let's say, hopefully this will never happen, but let's say my mom has to be rushed to the ER. And I'm driving, my car, she's in the backseat or whatever. Like, and I get stopped by people, I'm just going to go off road. And if some of them get in the way, listen, I went around you guys. Some of you guys went in front of me, even when I was going out of your way.
So, generally, what people will do...
Listen.
So generally what people will do, like when the LA protests were happening, for example, it's funny because a big part of what often stops, because protesters, they will oftentimes stop and let regular traffic go through. If they're trying to stop someone specifically, they might stop them, but they'll let regular traffic go through if they're trying to get to your job or whatever. But something that I saw that this was happening in LA, protesting the ICE raids, was blockades that cops had set up were blocking traffic. I was like, you guys are the ones actually stopping traffic here, not the protesters. So, but, yeah, there was something, you reminded me of something that I should have touched on earlier, that I forgot, but, yeah. Huh. I don't remember. There were, there was a shooting in Australia, as well at the end of the year, and it did seem to be one that was, basically a hate crime, which, was not good. But the crazy thing is, and one thing that I'll say about it is it did seem to be people that were like, anti-Semitic. It did seem to be people who actually were anti-Semitic, because it was like a Hanukkah celebration at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. They killed 15 people and hurt at least 40 people. And the thing that I'll say about that is, like, anti-Semitism is very unfortunately alive and well. But there is a difference, and I tried explaining this to like one of my coworkers before he left. There's a difference between, and you have to be able to acknowledge that things like, yes, what Israel is doing right now and has done for a long time is fucking terrible. But that's not because they're Jewish. It's like, you can acknowledge that countries and people from countries or whatever might be bad people or what have you, but it's not like in their genes or whatever, in their blood. You know what I mean? It's just some people are bad people. We did see, though, on a big, like, positive thing. We saw the Superman movie, and I remember, like, we talked about, like, our experience with that and everything. But it was a really good fucking movie. It was really, and I'm very excited for the like, Supergirl's going to be coming out next year. I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for what do you call it? Like that universe to be developed, and then just some other things that haven't really been we didn't really get to touch on here with this. I had talked about it in we did an episode where the same one where that Pokemon game came out. So that Pokemon game came out, which you weren't really stoked on, but the All-Time Low put out a new record that I really liked. Of course, I went to that concert that I loved. And there was the Game Awards, which we talked about in like its own episode. But those were pretty good. So, in the last episode, you had asked me, how I would rate the year overall, and I gave it a 4. And I would say I still think 4 is fair, because both personally and like looking at all these events here, yeah, there were some good things that happened. There were a lot of bad things that happened, but there were some bright spots. There are good things happening, and there are. I think something that's important to remember. People lived throughout the Depression. People lived throughout World War II, the Holocaust, all kind of horrific situations that are way worse than anything we're going through now. I think it's very important to remember that people have always lived and suffered throughout horrible moments of history. No moment of history has ever been perfect. It's easy to look back on stuff with rose-tinted glasses and to think, that's like, I wish I lived in like the 50s or the 80s or the 90s or whatever. And it's like, you probably don't. Because, like, yes, there were really good things, but there were also some really bad things. And I think that's just how life is. There's always going to be good things happening. There's always going to be bad things happening. We have to, find the good and appreciate it for what it is,
Mm.
and work and do what we can to work to make the world a better place for ourselves and everyone else in general. And I think that, like in 2016, that's a very big thing that we all just need to really strive toward. As things get harder for people, we really need to step up for our fellow men and help them out and do what we can to, like I said, just make things better, for everyone, including ourselves. So I think that's there's a great line in it's a Christmas song, but it could function as a New Year's song too. John Lennon's "So This Is Christmas," where he says at the end, in the chorus, "So this is Christmas and Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear."
Mm.
And whenever I sing this, I like to make, especially the last line, not just "let's hope it's a good one," but let's make it a good one.
Mm.
Because only we have the power to make, again, for ourselves and for others, to make the new year and this world better today, better this year than it was yesterday, than it was last year.
Mm.
And, like we touched on some of the horrible things, like, yeah, humans can be horrible people, but we can also be such incredibly good people. And I think that we should focus on what we can do for our community and our fellow man to just make life better and more enjoyable for everyone. And again, that does include ourselves, because when you make things better for other people, you make them better for yourself too. So, I think it's just important to have that kind of mindset, I guess I'd say. But do you have any closing thoughts? Anything you'd like to say?
No, just have a good year, and pretty much it for me.
Yeah, there's not going to be part 3. This is going to be the end. So this is our first. It's our first 2-parter as well, but it's our first official. This is the. Our first, real New Year's video and video or episode rather, an episode of the new year. So, yeah, just 100% take care of yourself, take care of each other, love each other, and just, like I said, let's make it a good one without any fear. Happy New Year, guys. Love you all.